The door to the Boston Red Sox season and their hopes of making it to October have been fully slammed shut after two demoralizing losses, one to an in-division rival and one to another team who is in hopes in contention of making it to October. We'll break down both of these losses and where it leaves these Boston Red Sox now on this episode of Red Sox Digest, so let's not waste any time and get right to it. So the door has been slammed shut on this Sox season. Now, if you have not watched this Boston Red Sox team all year long, I'm here to tell you that these last two games have looked polar opposite and polar different to what we've seen really all year long. Now, there were stretches during this regular season, this regular MLB season, where the Boston Red Sox were one of the most efficient and effective MLB offenses in the entire league. There were stretches where we were ranked in the top 10 percentile, top 5 percentile in all major offensive categories against either right-handed or left-handed pitching. And again, it wasn't just because we can hit the long ball at an enormous rate. That really wasn't it for the majority of the season. It's our ability to get on base at a high, if not just efficient average, and then once getting on base, turning those singles into doubles and those doubles into triples with elite level speed, ranking in the top 10 for stolen bases really all year long. Now, that has not been the case the last 2 days. The last 2 days have been close to horrific without a doubt. Now, we're going to highlight last night's game first before the game on Thursday night. That was even, I want to consider it even worse than last night's game against the Minnesota Twins. Now, if you don't know, the Minnesota Twins are in contention to make October. They've been a good, not great team all year long. And again, last night, they were just simply better than a bad Boston Red Sox team. Now, why do I say that? Well, we struck out 20 times as a team at the collective roster throughout all 12 innings. Yes, we did go to extras last night and lose. We struck out a total of 20 times, and the stats get worse than that. In just a minute, we'll break them down. But again, Jarren Duran, he had an okay game. He was 2 of 4 with 2 walks and 2 Ks. Not the greatest performance, but again, he is Jarren Duran, and honestly, he has played exceptionally well this year compared to how last year went. So again, this year for Duran, overall, a win, in my opinion. And again, we'll probably bring you guys another video down the line when this season actually officially wraps up for the Red Sox, and we'll do overall grades for this team and specific players who stood out. Rafael Devers, we have an injury update on him in just a second. He went 1 for 4 with 1 walk and 3 strikeouts as well. Overall, there's not a lot of hot points in this entire box score, excluding how many times we had strikeouts. Tyler O'Neill, 4 strikeouts. Tristan Casas, 3 strikeouts. Just not great. Up and down the line, only 1, 2, 3 players, or 4 players in total in this entire lineup, including the pitch hitters, did not strike out yesterday. Again, a total of 20 strikeouts from a Minnesota Twins team that, yes, they have good pitching, but you would not consider them the elite of the elite when it comes to pitching rotations. To break down some of the big names or the big things that did happen in this game, Red Sox rookie right-handed Richard Fitz became the first in club history and only the second in the majors since 1901 to not allow an earned run over 5 innings or more in his first 3 big league starts. He gave up 5 hits and 3 strikeouts and a walk over 5 shutout innings. So again, another bright point, and this is something that we're going to see after I break down yesterday's or 2 days ago's game against the in-division rival Tampa Bay Rays. Again, it wasn't Richard Fitz, it was Brayan Bello. But again, Richard Fitz, 5 innings, 5 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 3 Ks for a rookie. This is exactly what we want to see. A reliable, confident, live arm that we can put some faith in. And again, being a rookie, this is going to translate. And hopefully all we need him to do is stay healthy and stay committed. And things could possibly become great for Richard Fitz and this Boston Red Sox team. Now we move on to the stats that hurt even more than having 20 total strikeouts amongst the team. The Red Sox struck out a club total of 20 times, like we just acknowledged, and left 17 runners on base. 17. In 12 innings, we left 17 runs on base. Now, that is not in scoring position from second to third, but again, in general, on base, that cannot happen. I don't care if it's the first month of the year. I don't care if it's October. I don't care if it's Christmas. This cannot happen. This cannot happen. This 17 runners left on base is criminal. The Twins left 15 on base, but still they were able to get the job done in the 12th inning where they were able to score 3 runs. An absolutely dreadful performance from the Boston Red Sox. The offense just simply, it's non-existent at this point. Obviously, we did score 2 runs in this game. Credit to Tristan Casas and Tyler O'Neill, who both were part of the 2 runs in this game for the Boston Red Sox. But again, just not going to get it done. You cannot leave 17 runners on base in a single baseball game through 12 innings of baseball and expect to win the game. It's just simply dreadful. And again, we'll move on to the injury report on Rafael Devers. So the third baseman, Rafael Devers, left in extra innings. His shoulders have been nagging him for months. And again, that is plural. That's not one shoulder. His shoulders have been nagging him for months. After the game, Cora said, and I quote, "Probably that is it for him," end of quote. And he'll get an MRI in his right shoulder Saturday. So again, this is not good. This is not good. Thankfully, it is the end of the season. We only have 8 games remaining for this Boston Red Sox team. And as the way it looks, it does not seem like we are going to be making a run at the playoffs, unfortunately. Obviously, the Yankees have this top spot locked up. Obviously, the Baltimore Orioles are just 4 games back, and it's going to be very, very interesting. Both those teams are basically locks to get into the postseason and play in October. And then you have the Boston Red Sox, who 2 days ago, before a disastrous loss to the Tampa Bay Rays, were 76-76 with basically being dead even across the board with a win or with a run scored to a run against ratio of dead even. I believe it was 7-14 to 7-14 over the last 2 games. You have seen how things have played out. Obviously, that is not the same difference. We are now in the negative when it comes to runs scored against or compared to runs against this team. But again, leave it to the Boston Red Sox to get all but 8 with 10 games remaining in the entire season to be dead even with the runs scored as well as runs actually allowed. It's honestly kind of ironic. It's a little funny if you ask me, but again, not going to work out for this Boston Red Sox team. Now, before we get to the game against the Tampa Bay Rays, that was even more you can make the argument that it was almost more embarrassing than the game we just highlighted from last night against the Minnesota Twins. This is what the wild card race looks like right now. Obviously, the Orioles being in second place in the AL East and being obviously one of the best teams in the MLB record-wise at 86-66. They are leading by 5 games in the wild card, being trailed by the Royals, the Twins, who just handed us an ass whooping last night, as well as the Tigers, who have been rolling. Watch out for the Detroit Tigers. Then followed up by the Seattle Mariners, who beat up on DeGrom yesterday and who only pitched 3 innings. And then finally the Boston Red Sox, who are 5 games back, who are 3-7 in their last 10 games and have lost 2 games in a row. Just not what we needed to see. If we would be as hot as we were right around the middle part of the season, right after the All-Star break, the Boston Red Sox would, in this wild card race, would probably look drastically different. But because of our lack of offense and our lack of ability to score runs, especially when we are on base, whether we're in scoring position or not, is going to be the killer of this Boston Red Sox season. So let's now get to it and break down the second game that I wanted to highlight in this game, and the reason I keep mentioning that this may be worse than the game I just highlighted against the Minnesota Twins from last night is because we got 1 hit. We got 1 hit in a game against Zach Little and the Tampa Bay Rays. Yes, a team that we have beat up on this year, the team that should not really steal games from us, especially in a time when we have 10 games left and we want to make a push for October. And I know it was a long shot, but if we could even go 8-2 or win out over those last 10 games, we had a chance to make a push at October. But again, I know a long shot, and again, it's not going to happen now. At least that's the way it seems. This was horrific. The only person with a hit in this game was Nick Sogard, so shout out to him for allowing the Boston Red Sox to not get no hit. But again, 11 strikeouts as a team in 28 attempts, only 1 hit in those 28 attempts. Not a great look for this team. Rafael Devers did strike out in all 3 of his in all 3 of his at bats, I should say. Overall, just not a great performance. I will say the best performance from a Red Sox against these Tampa Bay Rays was Brayan Bello, who went 5 2/3, gave up 1 run on 5 hits, and he did strike out 7 while walking only 2. Another young arm for this Boston Red Sox team, and it really seems like this is going to be the driving force going forward. We're going to have to maintain the offensive talent that we have and really just hope to maintain the pitching talent that we've acquired and really try to build off of that with Bello, and then obviously with our new guy, the rookie Fitz. So again, it's going to be interesting. Both these guys very young. Both these guys starting pitchers for this Boston Red Sox team, and it seems like with their age and their abilities, they should be good for years to come. But again, it's not good for the Boston Red Sox. It's ending on a very, very ugly note, and it seems like this lead in our we might even go from 3rd place to 4th place if we continue to lose and Tampa continues to win. So hopefully we can close out this season on a hotter note than it has been for the last 2 nights. But again, that'll be it for this episode of Red Sox Digest. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys on plenty more videos to come.